look at these two.
In a moment, these lovers won't ever forget.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
And one the world can't stop talking about.
I'm not quite sure what to do. Did we rumble you?
Kiss Cam is known for its heartwarming moments, but it caught an awkward one at a Coldplay concert. It zoomed in on a couple cuddling, but internet sleuths were quick to work out why they didn't want to be seen.
Coldplay threw a couple on the Kiss Cam. Turns out they were having an affair? I don't think even Coldplay can fix this.
It didn't start on that fateful night in Boston. To understand the full mess, we have to rewind just 2 days earlier. Andy Byron, CEO of a booming tech startup called Astronomer, was giving a glowing interview about leadership, trust, and ethics. He was polished, confident, and praised for building a culture of respect. The irony would slap everyone in the face by the weekend. Fast forward to the Coldplay concert, 65,000 fans packed into Fenway Park, swaying to the melodies of Fix You. And there, on the jumbotron, Andy Byron appeared. But he wasn't sitting with his wife. He was locked in a tight embrace with his company's head of HR, Kristen Kitt.
They had like the kiss cam kind of thing that goes around that zeroed in on this one couple.
They don't even get caught if they're just both at the concert together. They only get caught because they're openly canoodling at the concert. It betrays a lack of respect for any sort of judgment, but also for a basic value system.
This wasn't a friendly hug. It was intimate, lingering, unmistakable. Chris Martin, smiling on stage, delivered a casual but cutting comment. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. That single line didn't just amuse the crowd. It detonated across social media within minutes. Before the band even hit their encore, videos of the Kiss Cam moment had been shared thousands of times online. While some concertgoers laughed it off, others squinted at the screen, realizing they recognized those faces. Internet detectives worked quickly. LinkedIn profiles, old press releases, Instagram photos. The couple wasn't just a random duo caught on camera. It was the married CEO of Astronomer and his recently divorced HR chief. But wait until you hear this part.
Now, a US tech company boss has been suspended. That's after a viral video appeared to show him hugging a woman at a Coldplay concert. Astronomer says that its chief executive, Andy Byron, has been put on leave, although the company stopped short of confirming if he is the one captured in the footage. The video, which appears to show Byron embracing the company's HR director, was shown on a giant screen at the concert in Boston.
Kristen's entire job revolved around preventing exactly this kind of mess. Her workshops on ethics, corporate boundaries, and professional behavior were legendary in the company. And now, the woman tasked with safeguarding the company's integrity was caught in an embrace that would soon humiliate the entire organization. This was more than a Coldplay concert gone wrong. It was the beginning of a public implosion that would threaten a billion-dollar valuation. Back home, Megan Byron, Andy's wife and the mother of their 2 children, was living an ordinary evening, folding laundry, sipping wine, scrolling her phone. Then the first message arrived, a friend asking, "Hey, is this Andy on the Kiss Cam?" A video followed. Then another and another. Her screen was suddenly flooded with texts, screenshots, and links. There was no ambiguity, no way to explain this away. There he was, her husband, on the jumbotron for all to see, with Kristen. And Chris Martin's cheeky commentary echoing the truth everyone now suspected. But Megan didn't react publicly. Not yet. She didn't post a rant or issue a statement. Instead, she quietly made a decision that would soon turn her into an internet icon.
Oh, she's talking to her friend. That's her friend.
I'm not quite sure.
She whips her back to the camera.
Yeah.
And he actually bends down to get out of the, like squatting to get out of the sight. Honestly, they should have listened to me. Look, well, he's really hugging her. It's tight.
Yeah, you just lean in. You have to lean in at that point.
Right?
The Coldplay Kiss Cam fiasco was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. As the viral clips surged through every corner of the internet, Astronomer's offices were already in chaos. Executives stayed up all night, texting furiously in damage control mode, while employees filled Slack channels with memes, screenshots, and speculation. The next morning, the Coldplay Kiss Cam wasn't just gossip. It was a full-blown crisis. The irony was irresistible. Kristen Kitt, the head of HR, who had crafted company policies about workplace ethics and professional conduct, was now front and center in the very type of scandal she was supposed to prevent. Here's where things really spiraled.
I feel bad for so many people involved in this. Like, Chris Martin is one of the sweetest guys. I'm a huge Coldplay fan. Like, really a genuinely sweet guy who's trying to do the world better. He's trying to showcase people having loving moments. And it sure looks like these two are in love, Kim. Very, very confident in such a public space. Yeah. You would think they're a couple, would you not, Kim?
Within hours, internet sleuths uncovered that this wasn't a one-off moment. Photos from a corporate retreat showed Andy and Kristen looking very cozy months earlier. Late-night dinners, suspicious body language, lingering glances. Then came leaked internal emails from a former employee who had raised concerns about favoritism between Andy and Kristen. That complaint had reportedly been dismissed by Kristen herself. The hypocrisy wasn't just obvious, it was stunning. Memes flooded social media, screenshots of Kristen's now infamous maintaining professional boundaries training sessions, paired with captions like, "Kristen, you had one job." Back at Astronomer headquarters, the atmosphere was sinking fast. Employees whispered in hallways, speculating how long the CEO and head of HR would last. Meanwhile, Andy Byron's online presence went silent. He deactivated his Instagram and locked down his LinkedIn profile, moves that only fueled more speculation. This detail becomes important later, because while Andy was hiding, Megan Byron made one quiet but devastating move. She dropped Byron from her last name on social media. No angry posts, no interviews, no clickbait statement, just a subtle but public edit that screamed louder than any headline. Twitter users hailed it as legendary. One tweeted, "When she changed her name, my soul ascended." Another wrote, "She erased him like a typo." As Andy and Kristen retreated into silence, Megan emerged as a symbol of grace and strength. Internet strangers, influencers, even celebrities began rallying around her. Old photos of her smiling with her kids resurfaced as commenters flooded her page with support. Queen energy, you deserve better. Megan wins. The narrative had flipped completely. Andy and Kristen were now the villains, and Megan was the dignified hero of this drama. But this wasn't just an online spectacle. Real-world consequences were starting to pile up.
He did so many things wrong. I mean, the very first thing is, and look, I've never cheated on my wife. I'm not cheating on my wife. I love you, baby. It's her birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm great. But if I did it, to borrow a phrase from O.J. Simpson, I sure as hell am not going to take my side chick to a stadium with 65,000 strangers.
Clients began emailing Astronomer with concerns about leadership. Investors were demanding emergency meetings, and Astronomer's board was under immense pressure to act quickly before their billion-dollar valuation took a fatal hit. The Kiss Cam clip had set the stage for what would become one of the most embarrassing and public corporate meltdowns in years, and the real shock was still coming. Even as Astronomer's executives scrambled to draft internal memos and appease anxious investors, the internet wasn't slowing down. Within hours, an entirely new layer of the scandal was exposed. Andy Byron had allegedly expensed the Coldplay tickets through the company's account. That's right, 2 premium seats worth over $1,000 charged as client entertainment. The backlash was immediate and vicious. Memes exploded across social platforms. "Client entertainment? More like career self-destruction," joked one user, while another added, "The only entertainment here is watching this scandal unfold in real time." But here's where things got even more chaotic. Former Astronomer employees came forward anonymously, revealing that Andy and Kristen's relationship had apparently been an open secret within the company. According to these insiders, employees had whispered about their unusually close relationship for months, with Kristen reportedly receiving preferential treatment, flexible scheduling, and exclusive access to executive meetings. One source even shared that Kristen was the only employee to regularly accompany Andy on business trips, all justified as HR consultation or team-building initiatives. It was hypocrisy layered on top of scandal. Then, Kristen herself seemed to vanish from public view. This detail becomes important later, because soon after the concert, Kristen quietly deleted her LinkedIn profile, making her entire professional history disappear overnight.
Here's Astronomer's leadership. This is Andy Byron. And right down here is the Chief People Officer. There you go. Kristen Kitt, Chief People Officer. Although the weird thing is that if you click on their LinkedIns and poof, they're gone. Deleted their LinkedIns. Too bad, you know? They'll be a scumbag. And if you are a scumbag, then, well, I guess you deserve this.
The internet noticed immediately. Employees began joking that she was ghosting the entire industry. while industry watchers speculated that she'd either been quietly suspended or had simply gone into hiding. Meanwhile, inside Astronomer's offices, tensions were boiling over. Employees weren't just gossiping anymore, they were angry. Some reportedly demanded clarity from leadership, while others leaked internal documents that exposed just how much the company's policies on workplace relationships had failed to prevent this mess. Meanwhile, Megan Byron continued to capture the internet's heart without uttering a word. Her quiet dignity became a kind of online rallying cry. Thousands flooded her old Instagram posts with support, and hashtags like #TeamMegan began trending. Megan didn't just drop his name, she dropped the mic, one tweet read. Her decision to stay silent while the chaos unfolded made her appear even stronger. While Andy ducked behind a railing at Fenway Park and Kristen erased her online presence, Megan simply updated her last name and let the world draw its own conclusions. Behind the scenes, however, Astronomer's board was working frantically. Rumors swirled that lawyers were reviewing both Andy's and Kristen's contracts, looking for ways to terminate them for cause without costly severance payouts. There were whispers of a formal investigation, leaked meeting agendas, and speculation that a major leadership shakeup was imminent. Investors were threatening to walk away, employees were questioning leadership, and the internet refused to look away. The scandal wasn't just viral anymore, it was becoming a case study in corporate failure, and just when everyone thought they'd seen it all, the biggest twist was about to land. By the end of the week, Astronomer's carefully crafted image was in freefall, but what came next changed everything. A leaked internal email, allegedly sent by Andy Byron himself just days before the concert. In it, he praised Kristen Kitt for her unwavering commitment to upholding company values and hinted at promoting her to a senior executive role.
They've now locked all their comments. Oh no. Oh no. Is Andy Byron and HR having an affair still hold their positions at the company? Is it ethical?
The email spread like wildfire, quoted and mocked everywhere. Unwavering commitment? More like unwavering hypocrisy, one viral comment read. The timing was brutal. This email wasn't from months ago, it was from days before they were caught in a public embrace. Then came another twist. A whistleblower from inside Astronomer leaked details of an ongoing investigation that had quietly been opened into workplace favoritism months before the Kiss Cam fiasco. Kristen herself was allegedly overseeing that investigation. Yes, the head of HR was tasked with investigating her own alleged favoritism scandal while secretly having a relationship with the CEO. The irony practically wrote itself, and social media went nuclear. Employees shared screenshots of Kristen's old ethics presentations with captions like, "Lead by example? Sure, just not this example." At this point, Astronomer's board could no longer remain silent. Under pressure from employees, investors, and a rapidly intensifying media frenzy, they released a short and cryptic statement. "We are aware of the situation and are taking appropriate steps to address recent events." That was it. No mention of names, no acknowledgement of what the world already knew. The vagueness only enraged everyone further. Appropriate steps? Like what? Sending them backstage passes to another Coldplay concert? Joked one Twitter user. And if you thought Megan Byron was done making power moves, think again. While her husband and Kristen hid from public view, Megan quietly deactivated her Facebook account. But before she did, eagle-eyed fans noticed that she had already removed every reference to Andy.
Anyway, here we go. So she brought her underling there to cover for them. The CEO's wife found out about it. She's already removed his last name from her LinkedIn and Facebook. Apparently, many people at the company knew that he was sleazy, previously worked for him. Moral of the story, don't go to a Coldplay concert.
Photos, posts, even comments he'd left on old pictures. In one swift digital cleanup, she erased him completely from her online life. The internet roared with approval. She erased him like a typo. Again, one viral tweet declared. Here's where things got really wild. Reporters camped outside Astronomer's headquarters caught wind that Kristen hadn't set foot in the office since the scandal broke. Not even virtually. She was allegedly on personal leave, but some insiders claimed she'd been effectively sidelined as legal teams sorted out next steps. Andy, meanwhile, hadn't been seen publicly since that night at Fenway Park. His silence was deafening, and every day that passed without an explanation fueled more speculation and memes. The scandal had reached its peak. Astronomer's billion-dollar valuation was now in question, trust in leadership was shattered, and the company's two most senior executives were radioactive. The Kiss Cam moment had snowballed into a complete corporate meltdown, and yet somehow Megan Byron emerged. as the unlikely hero, silent, graceful, and stronger than ever. But the fallout wasn't over yet, because what Meghan did next would define this entire saga. In the days that followed, Astronomer's crisis management team worked overtime. But no amount of polished statements could undo what had already happened. The company's CEO and head of HR had become global memes, their affair exposed in the most humiliating way possible. What Meghan Byron did next sealed her status as an icon. She didn't give interviews or write cryptic posts. Instead, she took one final quiet step. She reverted all her accounts to her maiden name and then disappeared from social media altogether. No dramatic farewell post, no public tears, just silence. The kind of silence that spoke louder than any words Andy could muster. The internet noticed immediately. Tweets poured in. She didn't just leave him, she left the entire circus behind. Meghan won this breakup without saying a word. The meme economy had crowned her queen, and for good reason. While Andy and Kristen scrambled behind the scenes, Meghan simply walked away, head high and dignity intact. Meanwhile, inside Astronomer, chaos turned into collapse. Major clients quietly pulled their contracts. Potential investors postponed meetings indefinitely. Key employees resigned, citing loss of confidence in leadership. The board moved quickly, announcing that Andy Byron was taking a leave of absence effective immediately. Corporate speak for "you're done." Kristen Kitt's fate was sealed just hours later when Astronomer updated their leadership page and her name had vanished entirely. The chief people officer, who was supposed to enforce ethics, had become the ultimate cautionary tale. The damage wasn't limited to the company. Andy's personal life was in ruins. Former colleagues leaked stories of his arrogance, his favoritism, and his tendency to blur the lines between professional and personal. Kristen faced a similar fate. Former employees began to anonymously describe how she'd built a culture of selective accountability, turning a blind eye to behavior she was later caught engaging in herself. The hypocrisy was so blatant that late-night comedians made them punchlines in monologues. Even Chris Martin's casual comment, "Either they're having an affair or they're just shy," became a meme, forever tied to their downfall. But Meghan, she became a symbol of grace under fire. Fan accounts were created in her honor, her quiet dignity turned into a kind of internet legend, and through it all, she said nothing publicly. No lawsuits, no statements, no interviews. She simply reclaimed her name, protected her children, and moved forward. This entire saga was no longer just a scandal. It became a lesson in modern accountability. When power goes unchecked, when personal arrogance mixes with corporate hypocrisy, the fallout is swift, merciless, and amplified for the world to see. Astronomer's billion-dollar valuation wasn't destroyed by market forces or business missteps. It was wrecked by a kiss cam, a jumbotron, and two executives who thought they could hide in plain sight. So here's the question for all of us. Is this the new normal for corporate accountability? Should executives expect to be held to public scrutiny, even outside the boardroom? And most importantly, can any brand recover when trust, respect, and ethics get publicly torched in the time it takes Coldplay to play their first chorus?